We'll do the invocation. Ranjan, you can try on your own.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Could I start? वासुदेवेन्द्र योगेन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनम् नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुं ब्रह्मा नमाम्यहम्। 1 second. साधनचतुष्टय सम्पन्ना अधिकारिणा मोक्षसाधनभूतं तत्त्वविवेकप्रकारं वक्ष्यामः। साधनचतुष्टयं किम्? नित्यनित्यवस्तुविवेकः इहमुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः शमतिषट्कसम्पत्तिः मुमुक्षुत्वं चेति। नित्यनित्यवस्तुविवेकः कः? नित्यवस्तुविवेक ब्रह्मा तद्व्यतिरिक्तं सर्वनित्यम् अयमेव नित्यनित्यवस्तुविवेकः।
नित्यवस्त्वेकं ब्रह्मा
नित्यवस्तुविवेकं ब्रह्मा
तद्व्यतिरिक्तं सर्वमनित्यम्
सर्वमनित्यम्
अयमेव नित्यानित्यवस्तुविवेकः।
अयमेव नित्यनित्यवस्तुविवेकः। विरागः कः? इह स्वर्गभोगेषु इच्छाराहित्यम् इहमुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः
समाधिसाधनसम्पत्तिः का?
समाधिसाधनसम्पत्तिः का?
तमोदम उपरतिः
तमोदम उपरतिः
तितिक्षा श्रद्धा समाधानं च इति। तमोदम उपरतिः तितिक्षा श्रद्धा समाधानं च इति।
समाधानं च इति।
तमः कः? मनोनिग्रहः दमः कः? चक्षुरादि बाह्येन्द्रिय निग्रहः
चक्षुरादि बहेन्द्रिय निग्रह
चक्षुरादि बाह्येन्द्रिय
बाहेन्द्रिय
निग्रहः चक्षुरादि बाह्येन्द्रिय निग्रहः उपरमः कः स्वधर्मानुष्ठानमेव
स्वधर्मानुष्ठानमेव
तितिक्षा का शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखादि सहिष्णुत्वम् शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखादि सहिष्णुत्वम् not shru shnu
आदि सहिष्णुत्वम्
श्रद्धा कीदृशी गुरुवेदांत वाक्यादिषु विश्वासः श्रद्धा कीदृशी गुरुवेदांत वाक्यादिषु विश्वासः So now, thank you, Ranjit. Now we have to, one more. Samadhanam kim? Chittaikagrata. Samadhanam kim? Chittaikagrata. So we are now continuing forward with the sadhana chatushtayam, and we said yesterday that the third quality in the sadhanas is shama adi shatka sampattihi. Sampattihi is the wealth. Shama adi refers to etc. So it may also means that which the group of qualities which begins with shama. So adi word is indicative here of beginning. So the group of qualities which begins with shama. What are these? They are 6 in number. Shat. What are the 6 qualities? Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. So the 6 qualities are Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. So once we finished Viveka Vairagya, next topic was Shamadhi Shataka Sampattihi, and so here the author is asking the question, Shamadhi Sadhana Sampattihi Ka. Ka is the what, the feminine word. What is this wealth of? Shama adi sadhan. Sadhan for what? Means for what? Means for your goal of moksha. Means for moksha. So what are these Shama Adi means for moksha? There are 6. I'm repeating so that we start memorizing them. Shama, the Shamo is actually Shamaha. It's a Sandhi. Shamaha, Damaha, Uparatihi. This also breaks up. Uparatihi, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. So as the author has been following, now each of these qualities he is going to explain, give their definition. Not explain, give their definition. So he starts with the first one, and that is Shamaha Kaha. What is Shamaha? So what is the very first quality in the group of 6 qualities? He says Mano Nigraha. Mano Nigraha fundamentally means mind control. Mind, मन, उसका निग्रह करना, उसको अपने वश में रखना. Control of the mind means keeping your mind under your control. मन को अपने वश में रखना, मन को अपने ही अधीन रखना. Keeping the mind as following your instructions. Now, why is this important? Before that, the word Shama. Shama is to be differentiated from Kshama. Shama is, let me write that as much as I can. This Shama, I said pardon this spelling, but I hope you can see this. Shama. So what is Kshama? This Shama we know is forgiveness. It is to be differentiated from. It is not this that is spoken of as a quality. So we are not talking about Shama, we are talking about Shama. Shamaha Kaha. What is the first quality? Shama. Shama word by itself, the dhatu is Sham. In Sanskrit, all these words have a root of their word. The root from which the word is formed, and root is indicative of the meaning of that word, the primary meaning that the word wants to convey. Shama dhatu has the root meaning of upashamane. Upashamane means shant hona, or in another context it can be shant karna. Shama dhatu, whenever it is used, it will be indicative of shant hona, shant karna. Or Hindi of course is more popular, ठंडा होना, ठंडा करना. किसको? जहां पे भी ये वर्ड शम यूज होगा उसको. Here in the context is mind. So mind को शांत होना या शांत करना is shamaha. English translation would be to grow calm, to stop. Nigraha is stopping. Shamaha, in the sense of upashama, also means one of the meaning is to stop. To stop means to stop the racing of the mind, to stop the running away of the mind, to stop the turbulence of the mind. Not only stop it, the direct meaning is to allow the calm to grow. Tranquility, mental tranquility, mental poise. Shantata, shamaha means shantata. And for shantata, he says, definition of it is possible mano nigraha. When you control the mind, when you harness the mind, when you stop the mind. And stop the mind is not to be taken literally. You can't stop the mind. Stop the racing of the mind, its own willful racing. मन भागता है, मन चंचल है, मन व्याकुल है, मन घबराता है, मन अधीर है, मन anxious है. Commonly understood, what are the areas in which mind runs? Most common areas that the mind finds itself in terms of time is past and future. Whenever you are choosing to relax, even if you are not relaxing, you are engaged in doing something, you find even when you are doing something and it has become a mechanical action, say like brushing your teeth, after some times you stop paying attention to what you're doing, it just becomes a habit. So that mechanical habit which you have now formed, if you are observant a little, you will find that your mind is either sleepy, it's still not awakened fully, or it is already busy in its running around. Two areas that it runs helplessly as if is in your past experiences, reveling them, recalling them, judging them. It's preoccupied by some past event or some past incident or some past occasion, something in the past. A past experience is what the mind dwells on. Where? In your present. Or it is busy running in the future. It's engaged in planning and programming and wishing and aspiring and hoping and expecting, So the mind seems to be engaged in that aspect. In the present, if you keep it where it is supposed to be, it gets excited in the present. It gets anxious in the present. So you find that in the entire Kal, past, present and future, all the three states, if left by itself, I'm talking in a generalized way, most minds are not quiet, they're not tranquil, they're not calm, they're not shant. A shant mind by quality would be that it is available for observation. It is available for knowledge. Acute observation of the mind is possible where the mind is calm. Calmness of the mind means this is not on its own possible. There is certain practice behind it. And the practice behind it means you have trained yourself for most occasions and moments to keep your mind in the present without worrying about the past or the future, and leaving the present, doing what you're supposed to do, and not anxious about what's there in the present, not excited, not anxious. This kind of a training, I would call it, of the mind, means your mind is under nigraha, your own nigraha. Mind by itself is a very vague term in English. Psychologists today, till today, I don't think so. I haven't done the latest research, but up to 5-10 years ago, I would try and keep finding out if there was a definite definition of mind that has come up in psychology. They are still trying to find out, at least 5 years ago, that I do not know the latest. Mind hasn't been placed, pinned in psychology. We use it, man. And man mein matlab we generalize it to say feelings, vichar, thought. यहाँ पे कभी मन में मन कभी हार्ट बनता है, मन कभी यहाँ पॉइंट हो जाता है, मन कभी थॉट्स कहा जाता है, मन कभी फीलिंग्स होती है, कभी इमोशंस होती है. So you find so many ways in which mind is addressed without it being placed. What really is mind? So if you just generalize again through all the meanings, mind is almost equanimous, equatable to just say thoughts in English. The seat of your thoughts, where you perceive thinking, thought, any thought, जहां पे ये thought base feel हो रहा है, उसी को मन generalize कर दिया है. Shastra has very definite meaning to mind. Mind is man. Man is the correct word because man is differentiated with its another aspect called buddhi. Buddhi we saw in Vivek. What is employed is buddhi, capacity to discern. Capacity to discern also belongs to some aspect of you, is your aspect, is owned by you, is differentiated from man. And the distinction of man is it does not distinguish. मन का स्वभाव नहीं है कि वो सेपरेट कर सके. The faculty in you which separates facts, experiences, emotions, thoughts, and places the right value to them is buddhi. Other aspect of you is man. Man lacks the capacity, doesn't have it. Forget lack. Lack would be a wrong word. मन में उसकी वृत्ति नहीं है, मतलब मन का स्वभाव नहीं है कि वो विचार कर सके. विचार as in discriminated thought, distinguishing thought, separating thought, utilizing the faculty of separating. मन नहीं करता है. मन में thought is only placed. A thought is presented, means you recognize it, undifferentiated. So if you are conscious of, say, hunger, your stomach is, your body is feeling lack of, say, water, better example, thirsty, you are thirsty. Before you say you are thirsty, you have identified you are thirsty. Actually speaking from Vedantic Drishti, who's thirsty? You can't be thirsty. Who's thirsty? The body has depleted its water content. It's asking for water. It wants water. But the way to communicate this is that there is some experience within. There's some sensation. That sensation has got classified as thirst. You can recognize it. And language helps us to understand it as a thought. So it is only a place which is registering your experiences in the form of recognizable now as thoughts. Mind by itself, we said it in the previous class and I want to bring it in this context over here. The Ratha example of the Kathopanishad. This image is borrowed from the internet, so there will be some words that I'll ask you to overlook, like the soul and the super soul. You can ignore these words, but the rest of the chariot example here is what we need to start seeing. The 5 horses are actually your Indriya. Indriya, you will see a little later, is also a little different from just the objective eyes, ears. Indriya here has been set as sight, hearing, taste, touch and smell. You say it as eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. These are your sense organs. These sense organs, which are placed otherwise in the body, Indriya is their counterpart which registers the sensation and it is in your mind. मन में है वो. आंख का काम है physicalize. उसका काम है to present color and form of an object to you. मगर जब आप कहते हो अरे ये लाल रंग है या ये ग्लास है, जो recognition हो रहा है of the color and the form, that is not happening in the eye. It is happening in the mind, where the indriya, its respective indriya is placed. उसकी इंद्रिया वहां है. Now mind has indriya as the seat, and because it has indriya as the seat, it recognizes what is placed there. This mind and buddhi, man, buddhi, along with chit and ahankar, later part of Tattva Bodha, we will see it as, together is what Shastra calls as your Antah Karanam. Karanam means instrument. Means अंदर की तुम्हारे means है, instruments है. बाहर के instruments हैं, बाह्य karanam, are these 5 sense organs and organs of action. We'll see later. Bahya indriya hai. Means they are placed in the physical body of yours. Physical body of yours has got hands and feet and breath, speech, breath also, and your organ of evacuation, organ of procreation, organs of action. And these indriyas, so-called organs of perception, Gyan Indriya, are your eyes and your ears and your smell and your tongue and your taste, your tongue and your skin. Gyan Indriya. They bring knowledge to you. Hands and your feet and your organ of evacuation, procreation and your speech are called Karmendriya. Organs of action. Now these 5 horses, start visualizing it here in the body. ये जो है ना हमारे बाहर के instruments, बाह्य इंद्रिय, they are called golakas. Golakas means they are just physical instruments. A physical instrument can get defective. But the Indriya inside, which receives it, obviously doesn't get stimulated if you don't have if my eyes are not there, I don't see. But if I have ears, I hear. So Indriya being inside, though our attention would be, we would say yahan pe, but actually the Indriya is all spread over. Like skin is spread through your body, Indriyas are spread. So mind is actually not something that is located in the brain or somewhere. Mind is that which pervades your body. It's very difficult to cognize that because I'm sure most of you are hearing it like the first time ever कि mind को आप शरीर मतलब mind तो यहाँ होता है. You've lost your mind जब हम कहते हैं. What do we mean by you've lost your mind? We don't mean, you know, we mean it put something here. That's yes, because brain is the subtlest organ as in subtlest physical organ of the body. So somehow mind gets associated here. But it's pervasive because skin is pervasive and Indriya that is there in the mind is pervasive. So you perceive the whole body as whole, one. You can't say that my finger right is different and left hand is different and feet is, you don't have different notion. You have one notion of your own self. The five senses, start seeing them as your horses. These horses are all only going to their respective objects. They cannot go on any other path. I did this when we did the Katha Upanishad example in the last class. घोड़े सिर्फ अपने रास्ते पे चलते हैं और उनका रास्ता, इन घोड़ों का रास्ता defined है. Means eyes will only go towards revealing form and color. Your eye is incapable of revealing sound. Your ear will only reveal sound. It is incapable of revealing color and form. So हर इंद्रिय का एक ही काम है. It only has one thing to report. Now imagine that they are all through these organs, the indriya is inside somewhere, means your body, and is responding constantly to the stimulus in the world. Where is the stimulus? इनके घोड़ों का रास्ता क्या है? They're objects. These objects are there out in the world, outside of the body. They are running on their own objective paths. So when they are running on them, the indriyas are constantly gravitating towards the objects because they're reporting them. They are registering them. They can only register those objects. They cannot register anything else. But if it was only one indriya, there is a very huge possibility that a human mind could have been a lot more peaceful. But one of the Shastras says, one of the verses is there, it says the folly of man is, human body is, that it has 5 sense organs. 5 sense organs means all 5 are operative simultaneously. And it gives examples of one animal each, that each animal has difficulty controlling its own sense organ, and therefore that animal gets destroyed, dies because of the weakness of his sense organ, sense based pleasure. What do you talk of man who has 5 senses running everywhere? So by themselves, each horse is, say this is a physical horse, your physical eye, but it is reporting to the mind. And the mind is the reins over here. जो लगाम है. So 5 घोड़ों की, there seems to be as if there are 5 lagam. And all of them have to be held by the charioteer, which is here your intellect, means that Viveka Buddhi. Now, when these mind, which is the 5 reins, is to be held in the hands of, means the charioteer is holding them. If this Viveka in a person, called intellect also, is not alert or is not developed enough, or for some reason is deluded, has wrong thinking, he doesn't hold the reins tight. There is another picture. I don't think I found the exact picture. I've been trying to look for it. Now imagine 5 horses. यहाँ तो बहुत disciplined होके दिख रहे हैं, because this diagram is to show that. But there should be another. I kept it somewhere. Of course, this is only visual representation, but meant to okay. And see? Yeah. Now imagine for an average person, हर घोड़ा अपने अपने डायरेक्शन में देख रहा है. Unlike the previous image, where you think they're all aligned together so beautifully and disciplined. But actually speaking, in real life, in all of us, that's not what's happening. हर घोड़ा अपने ही उसको कहीं कुछ दिखा, इंद्रिय भागी. You know, when you go to say Diwali Mela or some place like that, you know, and there are a lot of new things, or see a child, observe a child, जैसे जैसे वो नई नई चीजें देखता है, by the time you've seen one, you know, you hear something, you've gone there, then you see something else, you've gone there, you know, you see the whole activity, and each horse seems to be getting attracted by different things. Its own respective thing, but is constantly, like, you know, pulling towards it, pulling away from it. Something or the other is constant activity going on in these indriyas. They have their own direction as if. Now, mind is only connected, the only thing that's connecting this is the mind. That is why we say, supposing our mind gets preoccupied by something else, then what will happen? Even when I'm spelling, so many times I get this feedback from people sometimes that, especially when a person is depressed or something, and if it's, say, a housewife, and you put your milk on the gas and it's boiled over and you can smell that burnt thing, but the person is not registering it. Actually, what is happening, the nose has allowed the odor to go in. It should report to you something's burning. But your mind is somehow not registering it straight away. Means mind may perceive the ho raha hai, but somewhere the connection between buddhi and mind doesn't seem to be enough to master the mind to report it then and there. Mind has now got used to being with the senses, and it flows, it goes, now, as I said, it goes into the past, it goes into the future, it becomes depressed, it doesn't register. बहुत कुछ होता है मन के भावों में, भाव का स्थान है ये. बहुत कुछ होता है, and we call it as emotions. But each horse is representing a gati of its own, a force of its own, a strength of its own. And if the reins are left loose, Means this intellect here is not alert and is not holding it, because the mind is held in the hands of the intellect. Means the intellect is holding the reins, mind. But if the intellect is not holding the mind, now mind has got only connection, predominant connection, or the strength of connection is with its horses. So it will run, mind will run with them. The looser the reins are, more you find restlessness in the mind. एवरेज इंसान इन बातों को ध्यान नहीं देता है, एंड शायद नहीं देता वो अच्छा ही है, बिकॉज जब ध्यान देने लगता है तो यू डू रियलाइज देयर इज अ होल लॉट ऑफ वर्क हैपनिंग विद इन which most of us are not aware of. Now, even a moment's loss of control over one rein, one moment, is enough for as long as you can see this, that should be good enough. You can now, if these reins are left loose, means the intellect is really not controlling it. This Arjun here is supposed to be the passenger. I said don't worry about the word soul, it just means the individual, whoever the individual is, who's owning up the senses, the mind, अपनी जिंदगी जो कह रहा है, अंतःकरणम जिसका अहंकार आई है. This passenger is going to have a terrible ride. You can imagine, अगर ये घोड़ा अपनी तरफ जा रहा है, ये घोड़ा अपनी तरफ जा रहा है, ये घोड़ा अपनी तरफ जा रहा है, रेंज इनके साथ जुड़ी हुई है, मन इनके साथ जुड़ा है, मन अब इसके साथ जा रहा है, अब इसके साथ जा रहा है, अब इसके साथ जा रहा है. ये जो बुद्धि उसे रोक सकती थी, पकड़ सकती थी, वो बुद्धि या सो रही है, या लेजी है, या ट्रेन्ड नहीं है, या करने का मतलब, these are too powerful. The senses can be very powerful, and we will come to that hopefully, are extremely powerful in human form. They are very, very strong. Now, being very strong in every form, I'm sure, but our context is human form. Now, being very, very strong here, if the strength of the horses, the vigor in them, that power in them, that's why when they're children, their senses are extremely fresh and powerful. But as we keep growing older, सुनता नहीं है, दिखता नहीं है, taste नहीं होता है, the body becomes slow, the body, and all those lethargy starts happening, and the mind slows down. इंसान कहता है अब मैं I am slowing down. I can't now run like I used to run before. But as it's the indriyas, when they are in their natural new form, means just growing form, they are very strong. So if the person in the growing stage also is not harnessing the intellect, connecting with the intellect, the person has to connect with the intellect. The intellect has to connect with the mind. The mind remains connected with the indriyas. Then the chariot is representing the body. That means the chariot will move smoothly, and when it moves smoothly means the person here, in this context Arjun, the passenger, has a fairly easy, comfortable life journey. Sharira Yatra. The life journey is not bumpy, not ridey, not accident prone, not because imagine if each horse is going in one direction and the reins go away with this and the intellect is not connected, now very soon the chariot is destroyed. And Shastra says this to human beings. I mentioned to you in the Ladder of Fall, chapter 2 of the Gita, it says, when you develop raga and dvesha, that rag and dvesh that is happening in the mind. Man mein hai. When that gets powerful in a person, it shows step by step how the person gets destroyed. That means even though you have a life by your, okay, whatever the karma, the word is prarabdha, but we haven't done it yet, so I will not go into it. By whatever you have earned by your karma, as long as you have this body in your earning, death is not coming to you. You live it, but your life capacity potential is destroyed. Means you are mechanically exhibiting breath. You are mechanical, you are dulled. You are dulled and dumbed, or you are numbed, or whatever the words are. The experience of life has pulled you into, many people say I've got lost in life, even at a very young age. I've lost my direction in life. People say I've lost my direction in life. There are so many ways in which you can identify the human experience as a whole of the person not coming as a desirous outcome. The whole human experience is not a very desirous outcome, but something that you did not wish for, or nobody asks for it. But all that happened was that you as a person were not aware of certain disciplines that you have to remain adopted with through your life. What are these disciplines? At the level of moksha, the Shastra is telling us, for moksha they are necessary. But even for a normal conduct of life, they are very essential, even in everyday life. That means what? Shamaha means mano nigraha, control of your mind, which means when my mind has been under the supervision of the thinking capacity in me, and the mind is directing the horses, which sensations are comfortable, which are not comfortable, which are auspicious, not auspicious, which are beneficial, not beneficial, which are good, which are not good. I mean, I'm making it sound as if it is like an impossible task. I think I'm making it sound like that, isn't it? Yeah, no. Okay, great. Yeah. But the fact remains, it's not all that impossible a thing. It is just trying to tap it in the right way. Mind control, again, like I said, is, like we said in Vairagyam, is not something that is suppression. Mano nigraha means bringing the tranquility back to your mind. मन को वापस शांत स्वभाव में लाना. Now, our everyday experiences will make us restless and anxious and angry and everything, rag dvesh based life. Returning the mind back to its quiet state means you are once again holding the senses in your hand, aware of what the intellect is telling you. Means the person is choosing what is right and wrong and guiding the mind. This is right, and the mind is obedient enough in that sense, if you may use the word, is obedient enough, means it's quiet enough, it's silent enough. It has not grown so restless and strong in its own self that it even takes the intellect away. When the mind is very, very powerful, strong ragadvesh or even ahankar jisme hota hai, when there's very strongly built in the personality, normally what would happen is the buddhi is taken away by the mind, which means we start saying your mind justifies everything that you want, it wants. So the reasoning becomes convoluted. The reasoning appears like reasoning, but it is actually justifications in the mind that whatever it wants, it goes ahead and gets it. This experience based on control means you have the control at the level of your thought. Indriya, andar, tamaha, mind. The indriya which is inside. The minute these external reporters have reported it, you find there is a wave inside of likes and dislikes. You find there is a wave inside, a ripple inside, a perception inside. There is, ripple is the right word. Supposing I am fond of chocolates, and if I want a chocolate now, and I'm craving a chocolate, and you see, when I'm craving a chocolate, what is the ripple inside? And the minute I see a chocolate in front of me, see the way the ripple changes. Indriya has got activated. That activation of the Indriya, Shamaha, means that control is at that level. It seems like, I don't know if you people think it's an impossible thing or not, but it's a very beautiful, it makes you extremely strong as a person. Something that a spiritual path does to the person. Why do people choose a spiritual life? Is because it brings your best out. But it cannot bring your best out without, as we said, it's tapas. So what is that discipline here? That while it will be so easy for me to crave into whatever I like and whatever I don't like the world today lives, most of the people live like that. Whatever they want, whatever they like, it's like that likes and dislikes is your criteria of what is good for you and bad for you. Is the only criteria that one sets in themselves to say, ये मेरे करने वाली चीज है, ये मेरे करने वाली चीज नहीं है. That likes and dislikes and that ahankar is the only motivation in people to move their life towards. That is where the destruction starts to happen. In the controls means the human embodiment, human being is empowered by this, has the capacity for it. Means what? We all understand food is good, great. But when you start thinking what is really food for, other than whatever are legitimate things, if you start indulging in one kind of food, say chocolates, and I love chocolates, and I go on eating chocolate after chocolate, and chocolates and chocolates and chocolates, how long is it going to be beneficial for me? Even dark chocolate. How long will it be good for me? If that's what I like and that's what I will have. You can, once you understand this principle, you will understand majority people in the world. 99.9% of the people you've already begun to understand. Why? Including yourself. This 99.9 includes yourself first. It's not others. It starts with you and therefore you understand everybody else. Why does it start with you? Because you understand so well how difficult it is to control even one temptation. One like. अगर इंद्रिया हमारी बहुत strong हो चुकी है, again I'm saying not the eyes. My eyes themselves don't have the power. If the indriya is strong in me, then it takes my mind away with it. And if me as a person, my buddhi, I do not know how to tap into, then as a person, I'm a lost person because I'll go on craving the chocolate. Because my mind is telling me, I want chocolate, I want chocolate. Actually, the Indriya is telling me, I want chocolate. How do people become addicts? Any addict. All the addiction is what? Any addict I'm talking about. It could be just social media addict. Any addict, any addiction is what? Is actually the Indriya has got so, एक ऐसे से चलता रहता है अंदर. Because it needs excitement. So it goes on. So the minute the perception ends, थोड़ी देर के लिए शांत होता है, तो मन थोड़ी देर के लिए शांत होने को अभी तैयार ही हुआ है, उतने में the Indriya starts wanting its perception again. A very simple reason. I know many people, when this lockdown had happened, people were restless to go out. अंदर ही अंदर कुछ हो रहा था कि नहीं, हमें जाना है, कहीं तो जाना है, we have to go, we have to just get out. For whatever, right or wrong, there's no judgment. Right or wrong, correct. But what is happening is what you have to see. जाना तो पड़ेगा ही अब. क्यों? Because ये जो already activation हो चुका है अंदर, this activation needs to be kept activated, because otherwise you don't feel there is anything happening in life. Your connection of life is only this activation of the Indriya. So the minute the Indriya's perception ends, you feel a vacuum. You feel kuch ho nahi raha hai. You feel you need to do something. You need some excitement. You need some kuch karte hai na. It's like, when friends meet and if you kuch karte hai na, let's do something that will do something to us. All this is lack of Shama. It may feel very right in present times, because when you connect with your friends, when you connect with people, you need to have a certain kind of agreeable personality. You need to have certain kind of, so you contact people. All this is perfect, fine. But if you are not understanding that this is what it does to you, at some point of time when this understanding gets very clear, this is where the people in whom it became clear start moving their life in another direction. I'm taking this as a by the way. They start moving more and more towards, why do I need to lose control? Why do I need to make my senses strong? Whatever it needs, it's reporting. It's good. I'm comfortable life. I get food to eat. And whatever else I need, everything is under. We take this as a liberty to say everything in God's creation, Ishvara's creation, is all meant for every human, every living being. So everything is out there for me. There is no doubt about it. But do I need everything? So what really happens at Shamaha, and you will realize Shamaha percolates into Damaha, the next quality. And that next quality is, he says, your Indriya control, Bahya Indriya control. So when these two qualities we will see together in the next class, Shamaha means your capacity to control it right at the Indriya level. That means, when we were okay, the good example would be when you were, I don't know, most of the children have had this discipline. If you're fond of sweets, at least I had a regulation, a strong regulation put very early in life. So if you like something, if my mother found out, if my parents or elders found out that there is some tendency to like a particular thing, that would get moderated right there. So it's like, if you like bananas, then you can't go on eating bananas. So you will have a restriction, 1 banana a day or 1 banana in 2 days, or something like this. So what has happened? While I taste the first, say, chocolate or banana or whatever it is, the ripple hairs liked it. That like was an indication it's good for me. Fair enough. It's not going to harm me. Good enough. But if I'm not alert, and as a child, I would want more of it. And when I want more of it, then if there is no regulation, child cannot regulate themselves. So that's where the parents regulate the children up to that age till the children can regulate themselves. So what has the parent done? The parent has become your intellect. They are not allowing your indriya to get to the point that they will weaken you as a person. Because if your mind gets weakened to your senses, starts following your senses, the person is a very weak person. मतलब उसके पास स्ट्रेंथ नहीं रह जाता है, वो अब कुछ कर नहीं पाता है, वो कुछ करना चाहे तो नहीं कर पाता है, वो समझता है कि मुझे कंट्रोल करना है लेकिन कर नहीं पाता है. It goes on asking, and in the present context of all your news and everything, you would see how drug addicts behave, function. I'm talking of any addiction, but you can relate to what is happening in the person. When the ripple starts here, and if you do not control it at that level, then you will have a difficulty in controlling it. And doesn't matter supposing it has not been controlled here. Nature has provided another control, and that control is your sense organ control. So that means I control it at the level of the sense organ. So if I have indriya wavering for banana and banana and banana, there'll be no banana at home today. Because if I see one, I will have one. This is an example, okay? Please don't take it as my example. It's just an example. No? So my parent, my adult will tell me, we won't bring banana today. That means if she doesn't see, she doesn't get it. That means what has happened? The indriya has had to be pulled back. The organ has to be pulled back. So if I have the tendency of seeing, closing the eyes, ear, of course, is the most difficult control possible. Very difficult because you can't control the ears, hearing, but there is a practice for it because you can control the indriya inside. Means जब कुछ अशुभ सुनने को मिलता है, the sadhaks, we calling those who have practiced it enough, they can switch it off over here. Means your ears, the sound is entering, but you have switched off from here. You are not allowing the inauspicious words to enter you. So you find Shama and Dama. Both are helpful. Like I said yesterday, I'll continue in the next class. The 4 beakers, this is the 4th beaker for a Shant Manaha. There'll be 2 approaches, one from Vairagyam and the other from the control itself, Mano Nigraha, where the definition is Mano Nigraha means the person is alert. अभी इतना delude नहीं हुई उसकी बुद्धि, is still available to them and they are watchful. What are the legitimate perceptions I can enjoy with, I can live with, I can live a happy life with, and what are illegitimate, absolutely prohibited, and I will not enter that area, even if it is a desire, even if it is a temptation, even if whatever weakness comes. So with this I will end. We are going to be repeating this, of course, no doubt about it, but for now we'll end this. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. Everyone.